Among the countries dealing with a refugee crisis is Mexico. Thousands of children and teenagers from Central America are traveling through the country, but they're not getting far. Many are being arrested and sent back into the situations they were trying to flee. CCTV's Martin Markowitz has insight.
Mexico is set to pass the U.S. on child migrant apprehensions for the first time as the government has stepped up enforcement efforts this past year, according to a new report by the U.S.-based Migration Policy Institute. This year, deportations of Central American children are expected to be 12 times higher than the U.S. Many of these children are escaping drug gangs and poverty in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, and face the dangerous task of riding atop trains through the vast desert to reunite with their families. 16-year-old Brian Valadares knows of the dangerous risks involved when he came to Mexico from El Salvador.
Many people try to assault you and take away your money. Passing through the cities, people hit you if you come without money.
Still, Mexico's tougher immigration stance could be due to pressure from the U.S., which could make it more difficult for those like Brian to escape their dangerous realities back home. With the number of migrant children crossing into the U.S. dropping due to Mexico's legislative efforts in 2011 and 2014, the amount of children apprehended in Mexico has skyrocketed. And to make matters worse for child migrants, the Mexican government is deporting children back to their countries of origin, where they could face dire consequences. In the U.S., those apprehended have some basic rights, and they usually have access to lawyers and spend a length of time waiting for their cases to be heard in the immigration courts, which is not the case in Mexico. Immigration advocate Arturo Gonzalez questions Mexico's policy.
I
think it's very bad policy from Mexico that no child can stay in Mexico. But Mexico has an accord and has signed international protections for children and adults who are coming to the country to escape this violence and whose lives have been threatened. They don't review specific cases. They send them to a detention center and then they deport them back home.
Despite Mexico's best efforts to control immigration, no amount of money and resources can escape the fact that if violence and poverty in Central America continues, the problem of child migration into the country will only get worse. Martin Markowitz, CCTV, Mexico City.